Hi everyone, I'm Asha, an Akashic Records reader, blogger, and podcaster. In this series, we will demystify the Akashic Records by bringing to you bite-sized contents on frequently asked questions relating to the Akashic Records. We will also explore topics relating to spirituality, as well as practical application, learnings, and reflections in the Akashic Records. My Akashic Masters are very excited to join us in this journey. We send much love, light, and blessings to all. Welcome to episode 88 of Case Study 25 of an Akashic Light reading and healing session with Andrea. At the start of the session, we asked if the Akashic Masters had any general messages for Andrea. I'm sensing this circulation of energies in both hands, like waves. The message they are sharing is your healing, power, and magic is in your hands. On the first query, Andrea asked, I just really like to know, moving forward in my life, a general guide of my life purpose. They said that to live life meaningfully, we count and cherish moments and then days, which then build up to years and a lifetime ahead. So rather than to explore the life purpose generally in a forever sense in this lifetime, why not we dissect it down to what you can do for yourself at this moment, this month, this year, and then the next 5 years. And then we work on from there. Because the state of energies is in a flux right now, as the earth is rebirthing itself. So it is very hard. And sometimes it can be myopic and stifling to humans' capabilities and potential if we look at the forever sense and we box you up. Oh, you are a healer. You are here to nurture. It is like boxing you up. And you deserve much more than that. So try to focus on the short term first, and then getting the things right. Because that is in a more tangible sense for you. As you work on yourself in the short term, it gradually unfolds the path for you in the long term. And they are also saying for you and also for a lot of people, things are not as certain as imagined. While the soul at birth may have predestined a path, that path is never fixed. So as we make options, the Masters work with us to explore different timelines. They are showing me that you are like a tree. You are trying to grow. And as you grow your branches, it develops into many pathways. So they try to follow you. And at each stage, when you make and exercise your choice, they will try to branch out with you. As with a human's existence in life, you will explore what you feel like doing, your soul's inclination, and they respect you for that, and they will move along with you. So having this very fluid and flexible mindset is essential because there are many pathways available and open to you now. There are also many timelines that you can develop in this lifetime, depending on the choice that you exercise. And of course, the inner work that you're willing to cultivate on yourself. that will also open up different things as you heal different layers of trauma within, and you rise up. Essentially, they don't want to box you up in a frame and say that your soul's destiny or soul's purpose at birth is this, and you deserve more than that. While Andrea understands the whole message, she wants a general direction if she's moving towards the right direction, wherever that place is. They say yes, because you are navigating your soul in a direction based on your current soul's inclinations, and that's good enough. And try not to box yourself up just because of what society's preconceptions may be. Sometimes they will share a certain purpose for the individual, but for yours, they ask not to box things up. Keep things fluid and flexible. Otherwise, that will just be stifling you and doing you a great disservice. On the second query, Andrea asked, "You mentioned that the power of magic is in my hands. I kind of resonate with that. It is just that I don't know how to get to the point of believing that I deserve it. I don't think I believe I'm capable, or I don't know what they see in me. This has always been my fault. So I'm still on that healing journey in a sense of being proud of myself. For me, I can believe in other people. I can give them hope and all that whenever they need. But when it comes to me, I have a problem seeing myself as that. How do I get out of that? Not from a psychological point, but more from a heart space." They say that believing in yourself is actually a very long-drawn process for some of us. Why? Because it requires layers of unraveling, not just in present life, but also in past lives, where you were humiliated, mistreated, and even abused for the sacred spiritual work that you did. So you were out to do meaningful work that you believe will benefit and serve humanity. But instead, you were criticized, ostracized, and even sacrificed in several lifetimes. And that forms imprints in your energy fields, that subconsciously it triggers a form of familiar yet unknown fear within the self, the fear of rising to your full power, that a part of you knows you have it, that infinite source of power within, but a part of you has some issues tapping into it fully. And that is all the unraveling that we have to do. They are suggesting that in your case, if it is possible to find someone who can be trusted to do a deep karma clearing for past lives or even ancient civilizations. Of course, in a session, we can invite the lords of karma in to do some brief cutting off cords. But in your case, you had such an intense struggle with the dark and the light, and all these issues in past lifetimes. that you need a very complete set of karma clearing process and protocol from someone who is qualified to do this work, to do it properly for you once a year, or you learn the proper techniques to do it once a year. In this session, we can try to do what we can, but it will only be at a surface level. For the karma clearing, they are also saying that because it is so deep within you, all these seeds of fear are not just a present life issue. Why do I feel fear? Why do I feel phobia? But it is so many lifetimes of the injustice, betrayal, humiliation, and suffering for doing the work you did that kind of creates this veil of fear and shame over us, and that needs to be cleared. So we can do what we can later, but we would suggest that you do a more careful karma clearing with a qualified teacher who has full knowledge of the right protocol, not just a random meditation, but one that is catered for your needs from start to end, removing all the hooks, attachments, little imprints from past lives that are ready to go in different stages. And that will be like lifting a veil over you, that veil of unworthiness or whatnot that has been covering you for so long. Be very careful who you approach for karma clearing, because that person must have done sufficient karma clearing on himself or herself before he or she is more than qualified to do the work for you. Otherwise, it is not only doing you a disservice, it is like perpetuating their karma, because they have to be a clear vessel to really serve you, as clear and aware as they can be. The Masters applaud you for all the efforts that you have been doing in terms of spiritual advancement in this lifetime. And they are telling me right now that they need you badly. There are many so-called light workers, but a lot of false light workers as well. And you are one of those authentic light workers that they believe in, because they feel that you have this genuine heart of service, and they need you to rise up to your potential so that they can work even more closely with you to truly embody the fact that the power and magic is in your hands. They are showing me that in both of your hands, there is this ball of light that is circulating, and it's just so magical. That's like a rainbow of colors swirling around it, and it is in your hands. So it is not someone else who will do the work, but it is through you that magic will happen and unfold for a lot of people. On past lives, Andrea queried, is it like you live a lot of lives before, so some people accumulate karmic debt? Yes, that is essentially what it is. And most people, in fact, they're showing me an average of even 300 to 500 lifetimes. They're also saying that karma is basically the memories stored in the soul, good and bad. So it can be positive lessons, the wisdom learned through obstacles. It can be heartbreak, suffering, betrayal, injustice, and that also adds on. And our soul's lower personality, or who we are today, or who we think we are, is the formulation of the most recent 3 lifetimes that shaped our own personality. Our highest soul in this lifetime, before we came to earth, we kind of agreed with them. These are the lessons we want to focus on. So we are not really opening a can of worms of all possible karmic debt, but really zooming in, what is it that our soul wishes to learn? And they are reminding me that it is such a blessing for you. Why? Because a lot of people, they are so stuck in their present life struggles. There's no room or bandwidth to even clear past lives. So for you to be able to achieve that preparation, to be doing karma clearing for past lives, ancient civilizations, that proves that to a certain level, you have been working through your present life issues, and you have a level of readiness to work on past lives. We are not talking about perfection. You don't have to clear 100% present life struggles. We're still accumulating issues every day. We're still learning every day. But you have reached a certain level of bandwidth in your present life issues to be working on past lives. And that is something that deserves to be applauded. On the third query, Andrea asked, I resonated with what you mentioned since young, that there is something more about my life or about me. And then things happened that I'm very grateful for. Even the darker side and life lessons, because it kind of placed me in this mindset where sometimes difficult situations in life, everyone has gone through a lot or a fair bit. Sometimes it takes a person who can handle very difficult situations in life to go through whatever we all had to go through. So I'm just understanding why me and how to quantify that. They're showing me that in this cosmos you're in, there's this very beautiful white color being that is you, with butterfly wings, and it's white wings. And then it looks and feels like elemental kingdom, like fairies. And that was just one of your embodiments in a past life. It is very clear to them that you not just originated from the stars. You have found your way in terms of equipping yourself to a certain knowledge and awareness mentally within you to embark and deepen on this spiritual path. So you're ready to do more work, not just for yourself, but also for others in time to come. So your basis of service originates from your existence, which is one of light. And they're showing me very clearly that in a sense, you are connected to the elemental kingdom. What I'm seeing is a fairy with butterfly-like wings. It is beautiful, it is radiant, and it embodies light within itself. And that is just you. And they're also saying that you're not just that. That is just one embodiment of you. Across all the lifetimes you have been through, good and bad, You have been transported in various star systems where you experienced different galaxies. And then finally, you came to the denser realm on Earth. And you are a very resilient soul because of all the experiences, even all the genetic makeup that make who you are today, that flows within you. All your soul lineages, it is so far and expansive that we can't really pinpoint or box you up or frame you up that this is just what you're supposed to do. This is just one little box of where you belong, because you are so much more than that. There are so many possible embodiments of you. And this example of a fairy is just one embodiment that they wish to show you. But you are worth much more than that. And you were that being in a past life. It was you. Therefore, they want to remind you that you're more than deserving to be owning and embodying the work you do. Not just now, but in the future ahead in this lifetime. And that really makes you different from others, because you carry with you your soul lineage, not just on Earth, but also from the galaxies, from the stars. And you are here to serve humanity with your varied gifts and talents. Andrea found it interesting. She will look up more on the elemental kingdom, to which they are suggesting you can consider spending more time in nature. It is where your soul belongs and thrives in. So you can consider walking in nature, immersing yourself in nature, connecting to the plant kingdom, even connecting to the animal kingdom, the elementals. Open your mind to that, because you're one of them. Your higher embodiment, one of them is a fairy. So look into that. See how that resonates with you, how that sits with your intuition. On the fourth query, Andrea asked, "This is just my own personal truth. It doesn't necessarily apply to everybody, but it is something that I maybe feel, or what I went through, or just what I discovered about myself, or maybe life in general. So I'm just trying to understand if I'm even right to think this way. I've always believed that life is a paradox. I don't necessarily believe that bad is bad, and good may not always be good. So I believe that there is always such a thing as cause and effect, whether it is a good cause or bad cause. But a bad cause may not necessarily have forever bad effects. Sometimes you have to be a bad person in order to be a good person in such a way. So I don't know if this concept that I've learned is right or wrong. They are saying that this process and journey of life is an intricate experience, and our present life struggles and experiences will then form the basis of our perspective towards life. And sometimes the present life experiences extend even further to past lives. Experiences that then formed imprints and memories in our soul that unconsciously shaped us in a certain way. So for example, they would like to share a beggar in a past life who had so much issues with money. Even in present life, they are in well-to-do families. They will somehow develop this subconscious fear of money, scarcity issues, always feeling that there's never enough. But they can't really pinpoint their finger on anything, because in present life, the conditions are good. There is no financial issue. But yet, there is always the subconscious fear that there is not enough, we might go hungry, we need to accumulate more. So in that sense, they are saying that life is an intricate process, because the soul is given so much freedom and creativity to experience life in stages and in lifetimes. And it really depends on what the higher soul wants for the soul at birth that gives rise to this family, this soul lineage that they took on, these personality traits, and all these experiences. And ultimately, you are right. There is no such thing as a defined bad or good, because the soul is just freely experiencing and creatively expressing itself. So it might be an angel in a past life, but in this lifetime, it wants to go through suffering. The soul wants to experience what a 3D suffering feels like. And you can see the person is riddled with hardships and breakups all the life. So there are all these internal and external experiences. All these things are very fluid and flexible. While the soul at a higher stage decides on the soul's lessons and experiences that the soul wants to travel for this lifetime, at every stage, the masters respect the soul's choice. So they will follow them when they exercise their choice. And then they present to them the lessons that the higher soul feels that they are ready to experience. So since in that sense, the masters are saying, take yourself out as a neutral observer, just objectively looking at this whole universe and how things are unfolding for mankind. It is a very elaborate and beautiful process to witness, as humans are given this opportunity. It is such a blessing to experience life, to experience time. The notion of time makes our realm slower than all other realms. The higher realms around us, there is no concept of time. But for our realm, there is this concept of time, which slows things down, which makes things even more painful than imagined. So for example, if we experience suffering in the higher dimension, like 5th dimension and above, things are so fast that the suffering feels nothing. But here, it feels like everything, because it is moment by moment, every day and every year. But that is how the soul then accelerates the learning. So when we take one lifetime on earth, it is akin to an accelerated evolution. And that is why many brave souls have signed up to come back to earth to experience all these. So you're right. There's really no defined good or bad person, good or bad experience. It really depends on our perspectives, even in times of struggle. Are we able to see the wisdom and positive lesson in it? or are we just mired in it? They're saying not that we can't experience our emotions. Experiencing emotions is a facet and a beauty of human expression. But are we just trapped and stuck in it? As we work on ourselves, masters are encouraging us to slowly remove ourselves and be that neutral observer to life and watch life as it unfolds, not just for ourselves, but for our clients and the people we serve and the people we interact with. Then we realize that intricate process that sometimes their lessons are theirs, and maybe there is no need for us to interfere at this stage. On the fifth query, Andrea asked, I just want to know more about my love life in the near future, not asking really about far away, but maybe more of like a sense of hope. I'm not ashamed to admit that I would like to have someone eventually, but I don't want to get into something that is like the wrong person. So I just want some clarity on that department of my life. They are actually sharing with me in the near future. That means within 5 years, there is definitely someone you will meet. But that someone you will meet will depend on your vibrational frequency at that stage. Because that person you will draw will match your current state of energies at that point in time. So they suggest that you continue to work on yourself. Do that thorough karma cleansing work on your past lives and ancient civilizations where you suffered all the trauma, betrayal, injustice, and whatnot, because then that will be uplifting you and opening up your veils. When you feel more ready with all this karma cleansing work, attracting a right person won't be as difficult as imagined. They are saying the karma wounds are like our veils, our wounds that we carry within us, which form our veils, that sometimes accidentally may draw certain characters that we need to kind of resolve a certain trauma within us. Because if not for the person whom we are very grateful for now, we wouldn't be where we are today. We wouldn't even bother doing the work today on ourselves, on others, and so on. So of course, full gratitude to that person. But it is also a reflection that back then, there were certain unresolved trauma and wounds that we didn't even know existed within us. And that is why this person becomes the trigger, because this person reflects back to us the issue that we needed healing on. The masters are saying for now, at least for the next 2 to 3 years, focus on your karma clearing work. Get yourself with all these veils removed. After these veils are removed, even consider doing DNA activation work. So first you work on yourself by doing karma clearing. Then you do your DNA activation work. And what does that really mean? It means your purpose is to get back to your original blueprint that God or Source intended. The star embodiment you are today, to own all parts of yourself, to be who you are, in your true divine light and nature. When you are in that state, we don't even need to talk about manifesting true, good, relationships to us. The right relationships will just be drawn to us. Our intuition will be even stronger and honed even sharper, that our soul knows how to bring us to the right place at the right time with the right conversations, meeting the right people. And that is how you can then draw a soulmate in effortlessly. It is not trying to search everywhere for that elusive person, but that person will just come in. It makes things so effortless. Therefore, the beauty is that it seems so difficult, but it's actually so simple. Focus on karma clearing, then the DNA activation. Do it step by step within these 2 to 3 years. Prepare yourself, and your energetic bodies will then be upgraded to a certain level that you will find this effortless ease in drawing good things your way, including a soulmate. If you have been working on yourself even more diligently at the next upgraded level, this question becomes a non-issue. Andrea shared that maybe it's not the right question because, in fact, she is the kind of person that doesn't really need a partner for any form of validation or love. Even though she may be on her own or single whatsoever, she is happy. It was a very habitual way of wondering about life. To which the masters say, don't worry. They are not judging you in any way. Their words might seem harsh, but actually they have good intentions. They are saying you deserve better, and you can rise up to your higher potential even higher. That's what they see for you, to return back to your star lineage in this lifetime. So that's why they're giving you so much information for you to consider. Because at a certain level, you are a wise soul. You have within you that deep wisdom that as you process and sit with the information, certain realizations will develop. And that is one of your key strengths in this lifetime. You have a certain level of ability to detach from things, process it at a deeper level, and then share your self-realizations that a lot of people don't have. So you can also consider using this gift as you continue to sit with it, how you may serve. But of course, no impatience, taking your time. When you feel this nudging in the heart that you are ready, that's when you can use it even better to flourish. And of course, to serve your target audience. Andrea queried about the term target audience. It just means people you feel drawn to or who are attracted to you. So sometimes we frame target audience, it sounds a bit commercial, but it's much more than that. It's a mutual thing. You feel drawn to serve, and they feel attracted to trusting you. They trust what you say, and they trust in your state of being. So that's why they're here for you. On the last query, Andrea asked, any final messages for me? They are saying that be patient on yourself. As your soul has undergone a lot of hardships, sufferings, and ordeals, they acknowledge that it takes a very brave and wise soul to be so resilient, to overcome all odds, to put you at who you are today. And it also means that it expands your possibility of service to others in the days ahead, because of all the trauma and suffering that you have been through that have reshaped your perspectives and given you kind of a rebirth. And they are saying that you will experience even more rebirths in this lifetime. It is not a bad thing, because your soul is so resilient, you can take it. And through this expanded perspective, you are able to offer humanity so much more with your beautiful wisdom. So never forget your star lineage. Remember your mission, your duty on earth. As you meditate, as you work on yourself, your star lineage and all these pathways that you once belonged and embody will come back to you. And you don't need an external person to show you that this is you. But you feel it within yourself. Feel it in all levels of being, that this is you. This is what you embody. And that is the crux and essence of all. That it doesn't matter what others say, but it matters how you feel and believe in yourself. And they definitely believe and always support you for the work you do. And they would like to remind you that this karma clearing work is important for you for this lifetime, to be able to embark on the next chapter of your life. It will be akin to a spiritual acceleration at the next stage. Next, we focus on the healing segment for this session. Andrea wanted the healing to focus on first, that part of her that doesn't feel like she's deserving or good enough. And she feels like she has a lot of maybe past life parent-child issues to heal for herself. And second, what the masters decide for her. We called upon Andrea's divine presence, Akashic Masters, Lords of Karma, angelic team, archangels, and pure light beings who would like to support her, to gather around her in a circle of oneness and light. We called in the peace, stillness, divine love, and abundance in the Akashic records to flow into her energy bodies and her heart space. We activated her central pillar of light, inviting the gold light of Christ consciousness to flow into her brain, eyes, throat, heart, abdomen, womb, knees, and beneath her soles or feet. In her heart space, we invited a deep release and purging by gently opening a small hole in each chamber of the heart to allow the release of unresolved trauma, struggles, hardship, betrayal, past and present. In her abdomen, we invited the release of judgments, and we invited any inner children that had gone through trauma and were ready to receive deeper healing, to be surrendered to the light through an angel. For the remaining children that stayed with her, Lady Nada stepped in to send her pink rays of unconditional love to them. As the gold light flowed through her body, it facilitated a deeper purging and release of dense energies and emotions that no longer served her. Next, we called in Andrea's Lords of Karma to cut away cords from certain past lives and trauma that she had experienced that might be affecting the way that she perceived herself. Specifically, the lifetimes where she suffered, was tortured or abused for doing the meaningful and sacred work. At the same time, the loss of karma sent a clearing back to those lifetimes of suffering and hardship, including the moment of separation, where the connection she once had closely with God or Source was cut off. We send lots of light and healing to those lifetimes. We called in Saint Germain's violet flame to sweep through Andrea's chakras and energy bodies 7 times, facilitating a deeper purging and release of denser energies and emotions, known and unknown. Lastly, we invited the gold rays of light to patch all holes, rips and tears in Andrea's auric fields. As a finale, her energetic team sang and danced around her, that she is one with them, and they are one with her. And they were so happy that she had found them, and they were ready to reconnect with her. They sent blessings her way. With love and blessings, Asha and Akashic Masters. Thank you for tuning in to this podcast. If you would like to read about my dialogues and reflections with the Akashic Masters, you can visit my free blog at Asha-AkashicRecords.com. Till next time, take care.